E plus D plus Q. Today, I'm going to tell you how to use this formula to sound like a native English speaker.
This video is being brought to you by italki. italki offers one-on-one tutoring lessons from native language teachers. The beautiful part about italki is you can learn how you want. You can choose from over 10,000 teachers based on your personal goals. You can pay what you want. That's right. You decide the price that you can afford and you only pay per lesson. And you also can study when you want to. You can take the online lessons at the time and place you decide. And this is why I love italki so much. I'm so happy that italki sponsored this video and partnered with Speak English with Tiffani. And you guys can click the link below in the description to get your coupon.
Let's jump right in. E plus D plus Q. Now, the letter E is the first step in this equation, and it stands for experience, okay? Experience. Now, what this means is when you are speaking to someone, during your conversation, you first want to respond or speak to them by giving an example of your own personal experience. Now, the second part of this equation is the letter D, and this refers to details. Now, for example, when you are having a conversation after you have given your personal experience, you want to give 2 to 5 details, or you can also give 2 to 5 reasons that are connected with what you are speaking about. And finally, the letter Q, the third step. You want to ask a question. Now, your question needs to be directly related to what you are speaking about with the person during your conversation. So, let's see an actual example. Let's say, for example, you are in a group and you are discussing, or they are discussing, their hobbies. Okay, so again, the first thing you want to do is, using the letter E, you want to talk about your experience. So let's say, for example, they're speaking about hobbies and you want to talk about biking, which is your hobby. Now, the key to remember is that you need to always focus on giving your response for the 5 W's, the who, what, when, where, and why. So we said to start off, we said, I also enjoy biking. Well, that covers the what. When I lived in Korea, my friends and I would go biking on Sunday mornings. Well, that answers the when and also the who. Now, we can also find the where because we see Korea right there. Now we continue. We usually rode along the Han River, which is pretty popular in Korea. Well, we see that it was popular, which is the reason why you rode with your friends. So again, the first part has been taken care of. We have explained our experience and also given an answer for each of the 5 W's. Now, as we continue, again, we're staying with our hobbies, but we need to look at the details related to our hobbies. So the hobbies were biking. Now, this is what we have done. You see, we say, I think biking is a great hobby. But now I'm going to start giving some reasons or details. Remember, 2 to 5 reasons or details. So here we go. Because it is good for your health, you can get fresh air, and you can spend time with others. That is why it is such a popular hobby. Again, I have given 1, 2, and 3 reasons that fall in line with part 2 of our equation. Now, staying with the hobbies as the topic, we have to move on to the third part, which is the Q, or the question. So how can we do this? You see, what you want to do is you want to ask a question that is related to what you are already talking about. You spoke about biking, you spoke about your personal experience, and you also gave 3 reasons why biking is popular. So now you're going to ask a question. We can say, have you ever been biking overseas? Or we can say, have you ever went on a biking trip? Or you can say, when did you like to go, or when do you like to go biking? So what happens? We have biking as a part of our question because this is what we have been talking about. Now, why is this step so important? You see, one part about being fluent in English and sounding like a native speaker is being able to go back and forth in a conversation. So when you are speaking with someone, if you are able to give your opinion and then also ask them their opinion, the conversation begins to go back and forth and makes you sound more like a native speaker. But let's look at this a little bit closer. Here's another example. Here's the question. What type of work do you want to do in the future? Now, again, remember, we're going to use the same equation, E plus D plus Q. So for E, we have your experience. So we're talking again about what type of work we want to do in the future. Okay. All right. So again, we need the 5 W's right here, the who, what, when, where, and why. So let's see if we're able to answer all of these when we're speaking about our personal experience. Here we go. I have always wanted to be a web designer. I remember the first time I learned about web design when I was in high school. So let's pause really quickly. We see that the who is, of course, we are talking about ourselves. Now we're going to go to what? Well, we've always wanted to be a web designer. Okay. Now we need to find out when. Well, the experience, let's change this color to make it easier for you all to see. Well, the experience we're talking about for when happened when we were in high school. Okay, now we're going to continue. Here we go. One day, while walking in the hallway, a friend of mine told me about how interesting the work was. Now, where did this happen? So let's use this black color right here. This happened when I was walking in the hallway. So where is taken care of? And finally, let's look at the next one. We're going to use blue again. Here we go. His explanation really inspired me. Well, that takes care of why. His explanation really inspired me. So again, we have given our personal experience connected to the question and covered letter E. So now if we're going to move on to the next part of the equation, which is letter D, okay? Specific details. Remember, once again, our purpose is to give either 2 to 5 details or reasons, okay? Details or reasons. Here we go. Details or reasons. All right. Now, let's look at how we answered this part of the question. Here we go. After doing lots of research, I learned that web design is a perfect combination of the left and right brain. All right, so that's our first piece of information or first detail. Let's keep going. It requires mathematical and logic skills while also requiring creative skills. All right, so we have part number 2. Let's continue. Plus, since the internet is not going anywhere, web design will also not be going anywhere. So again, we have our third detail, which covers letter D or part 2 of our equation. Now, The final part of our equation deals with asking a question connected to the topic. So we are talking about what kind of work we want to do in the future, but we have specifically said web design. So let's see some example questions we could ask. We could say, have you ever thought about web design? Or we could say, what type of work would you like to do? Or we can say, what about you? Which is a simple way of just connecting what you were talking about by asking them for their opinion. So these are three different ways that we can ask questions. And using this equation, we sound very natural, and you can sound natural. Now, let's see if it really works in all situations. Here's another example. If you could eat any type of food for a week, what would it be? So we're talking about food. Now, again, we're going to our equation, E plus D plus Q. And the first part is your experience. So once again, we need to make sure that we include the who, what, when, where, and why as the part of our answer. So here we go. Personally, I would eat Indian food. Well, that covers the what. And it also covers the who, because we're talking about ourselves right there. Now, I continue with giving my experience. I remember the first time I had Indian food years ago. So when was it? Well, I said it was years ago. That's the first time I had Indian food. Let's keep going. There was a big event at my school. Again, that covers where? At my school. And our Indian friends cooked lots of traditional food for us. The food was super delicious. Now that answers why. So again, I have given more details about my personal experience connected to the topic or the question, and I answered it by giving an answer or connecting it to the 5 W's, okay? So the second part of the equation is the D, all right? Details or reasons, okay? So again, details or reasons. And again, remember, you want to give 2 to 5 in order to sound more natural or like a native speaker. So here's what I said. I think Indian food is popular because of the unique combination of spices used to make it. All right. So that is one detail that I have given. Okay. One reason. Let's continue. Even when the dishes look simple, they usually include tons of herbs and spices. All right. This is number 2, the second detail and reason. And finally, these spices really enhance the flavors. Now, the word enhance just means to improve or make better, okay? To improve or make better. That's what the word enhance means, okay? So that is our, I'll put it on this side, third detail or reason. So for this equation, we have done it correctly for letter D. Now, as we continue with the third part of the equation, the letter Q, the follow-up questions. Remember, they're going to be connected to the topic, which is food that you can eat for a week. And I've also mentioned that I like Indian food. So we want to figure out how we can connect these with our question when we're speaking to the other person. Here we go. Do you like Indian food? Again, you see we have Indian food right here. Or you can say, what type of food would you choose? And we have food right here. Or finally, you could say, do you have a favorite type of food? So again, remember the whole goal or the whole purpose of this third part of the equation is to connect with the person we are speaking with, okay? Connect with the other person. And this helps the conversation continue to go back and forth and makes you sound more like a native speaker. Now, the next one, again, we're just trying to see if we can apply this equation to every situation. Here we go. This one says, what country have you always wanted to visit? All right, so let's see if we can apply the equation to this one as well. Again, the equation is E plus D plus Q, and the first part is giving our experience. Now remember, we must always give our experience and answer the 5 W's: who, what, when, where, and why. So let's start. Here we go. I have always wanted to visit Nigeria. Well, that answers the who, which is I, and it also answers the what. Have always wanted to visit Nigeria. Let's continue. The first time I saw a picture of Nigeria, I was blown away by the beautiful scenery. Okay, so when I first saw a picture. Now, I do want to explain something to you guys very quickly. You'll notice right here, blown away. Okay, this expression. This just means to be shocked or amazed by something. Okay, blown away. All right, let's keep going. After looking at the picture for several minutes, I immediately put a trip to Nigeria on my bucket list. All right, so we actually have already answered why up here, because the picture blew us away or shocked us. Now, where? For this one, we can just leave it with Nigeria because we are talking about Nigeria. All right? Okay, so you'll see we have the first part taken care of. Now, the next part is the D, okay? Remember, details or giving reasons, okay? Details or reasons. And once again, we want to give 2 to 5, all right? So here we go. Let's get started. We have Nigeria is a country full of wonderful people, amazing food, and beautiful landscapes. Now, this right here is already given 3 different details about Nigeria, but let's keep going. There are many Nigerians currently living in America, so many Americans are being exposed to various unique aspects of the Nigerian culture. Well, we've given another fact. We said that Nigerians, many of them, live in America currently, okay? So many Americans are being exposed. Exposed just means to be able to experience, okay? Experience firsthand, okay? Experience or being shown, okay? Being shown something. They're being shown the culture, okay? So again, letter D is taken care of. Now, for letter Q, remember our goal is to have follow-up questions that connect with the topic. Here we go. Let's look at these 3 right here. What country would you like to visit? Next, have you ever been to Nigeria? And finally, have you done any traveling recently? So each question connects to the topic, either the country, which is right here, or Nigeria, which we talked about, or traveling, because we're talking about visiting a specific country. So that means that this equation, E plus D plus Q, actually worked. And if you use it, you will sound more like a native English speaker.
Once again, I want to thank italki for sponsoring this video. Remember, you guys can click the link in the description and you can get a coupon towards your first lesson, your first tutoring lesson. Keep studying English and remember to watch the next video. Have an amazing day.